Little blue, be my shelter, be my cradle, be my womb. Hey everyone, Justin Roth here, back with another Jacob Collier guitar tutorial. Today we're going to talk about Little Blue. Now if you have been wanting to play this song, but you don't want to mess with the altered tuning, you don't want to have to bother with the 5-string Jacob Collier signature model Taylor guitar, you just want to play the song, this tutorial is for you. Now I've done a comprehensive guitar tutorial for Little Blue, which is basically breaking down everything he does on the Mahogany Sessions version. But this is going to be more of a gateway tutorial to get you able to play the song with familiar chord shapes you probably already know in standard tuning. Even if you're a beginner guitar player, I'm going to demonstrate what each of them are so that you've got ways to customize or make it easier. This is about us being able to play the song at a more of a beginner level with the option of adding in more signature things that make it feel more like Jacob's language on the guitar, even though we're still in standard tuning. We may have advanced musical tastes in terms of the things that we like to hear, namely in Jacob's music, but we don't all have the same technical know-how on our instruments. So this tutorial will give you access to be able to play the song that you love without having to be a technical master or music theorist to be able to understand how to do it. So you notice on the chart, we're going to be playing with a capo on the 1st fret. We're going to be playing the key of D shapes, because D raised a half step is E flat, which is the key that Little Blue is in. We're going to follow the main chords written in the chart, but you'll notice that above those there are some other suggested things which will be like passing chords that if you are ready you are able to add those, and if not you can just play the basics and still have all the chords you need to support the melody. In the chart, anytime you see mention of a 7th or a sus or some variation of the chord, know that at all times you can just play the basic chord. For example, if it says E minor 7, if you just know E minor, you can just play that. So those different extensions that might be labeled are just suggestions to add a little more of the flavor of Jacob's chords. And again, since we're going to be playing the key of D shapes, I'm going to be calling everything by their shape. Meaning the way that we learn on guitar, we know that is the D shape. We know that is the G shape. Now, when Jacob did the Taylor guitar short tutorial on Little Blue, in the altered tuning, he was calling things by pitch, because that's the way he hears them, and he also thinks of them, of the notes that he needs to play for multiple instruments. He also didn't come up playing standard tuning guitar for him to like refer to something to being a D shape. As a guitar player, we tend to think in terms of shapes. And so that's the way that we're going to label all these chords. And stick around to the end, because I'm also going to give you a way to learn how to play this in multiple convenient guitar keys. In case, 1, you need to change the key for your voice, or 2, that there's maybe more convenient shapes that you are accustomed to using to give you that option to still be able to play and sing the song. Let's say you want to sit around a campfire with your friends and play it. You don't have to retune. You don't have to have the 5-string guitar. You can just play the song, and you can probably have the chord chart out and have other friends follow along. So let's get started. The verse has only 5 chord shapes in it. We're going to be playing a D, a G, B minor, E minor, and A, which I'm guessing most of those are probably pretty familiar to you if you've just been learning your basic chord shapes on guitar. So first I'm just going to play through the chords, and then I'll play through another section to show you how you can add in those alternate chords that are written above each line of the chart to see if you want to add in a little more of Jacob's kind of flavor and voice leading within the chords. Little blue, be my shelter, be my cradle, be my womb. And now I'm going to continue, and I'll add some of those extra passing chords. Be my bow, be my river, be the stillness of the moon. So we started with the basic chords are just D, Little Blue to a G, be my shelter to a B minor. Now it also says B minor 7, which is something you can do that, but you don't have to. You can just follow the B minor if you need to. Be my cradle to E minor, be my womb to the A. And then we go back to the D and just repeat again. Be my boat, be my river, be the stillness of the moon. And then, if you want, you can do that little passing chord. Now we don't have to, we can just stay on the D. Be the stillness of the moon. And if I could, so we can just go into it that way. That's the simplest version. But if you want to do that passing chord, you see, notice written above on that second line, the G over B, which means it's a G chord in first inversion, but don't get bogged down in the terminology. It's a G chord that we have the B in the bass. So you may have learned this chord shape before, but it just walks up. We're going to take that shape and really just play in these two strings, the second string and the fifth string. Same shape, just slid up 2 frets, back to the D. Now the thing that Jacob typically does when he's on his way to the G chord is he does a D over F sharp, which if you've learned it, it looks like this. It's a D chord with the third of the chord of the F sharp in the bass. And it just walks itself up to the G, like that. If I could, I'd go with you to a place I never knew. And repeat again. In your eyes, so dark and open, there's a light that leads me back to you. So that last time, instead of going E minor for 2 beats to A for 2 beats, he stays on the E minor for 4 beats and then goes to the A for 4 beats. And that is the entire format for the verses. And now for the first pre-chorus, we only have one new shape. And I'm betting it's not a new shape to you. It's just one new shape that we haven't used yet. And it's a C chord in open position. So that's just one new thing that we're going to add, and everything else are chords that we've used before. Because you're not so far away, I hear you say, you never walk alone. All right, so we start on that B minor or B minor 7, whichever you choose. Because you're not so far. Now this is a bar chord. This might be tricky if you're a beginner. The bar chord like this, which is, I said it's a similar shape that we've already used. It's just like what the E minor shape is, but everything raised up or barred up on the 2nd fret. Now if you need to simplify this, if your index finger doesn't like that bar chord, you can simply just do the 5-string version, where it's just the upper 5 strings and this index finger doesn't have to cover the whole 2nd fret. Another variation is the F sharp minor 7. 2nd fret of the 6th string, 2nd fret of the 4th string, 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and 2nd fret of the 2nd string. So it looks like how you might play an A chord, but you put that F sharp in the bass. 'Cause you're not so far away to the G, I hear you say. There's our first surprise chord out of the key, that A minor, but a familiar shape. You never walk alone. C to the D. Ooh. You can do C to G to be familiar, but if you know that G over B, which we talked about in the verse, and we did in that passage, he does kind of do this walk down to that before going into the chorus. So hopefully all these shapes are relatively familiar. That F sharp minor 7 might be new, but if you've done any bar chords, you've done something similar, and there's ways to simplify it. You can even simplify that F sharp minor 7 to 4 strings, just doing the top 4 strings without having to do all that barring. All right, now we're at the chorus, and there's no new chord shapes. We're still going to use all the familiar ones we've already been using. Ooh, singing, don't be afraid of the dark in your heart. You're gonna find a way to carry the weight of the world. Now I'm going to add in some of those passing chords just so we can hear, make it a little bit more like Jacob. You're going to carry the weight of the world on your shoulder. You're gonna find a way home. So again, we've got that G to the A, and then if you want, an A sus. And that last bar, we can just stay on the G. Again, that's the simplest version. But he does some passing chords, but they're all kind of sitting around this tonality of this G chord. You're gonna find a way home, on its way back to the D. But it works the same. You're gonna find a way home. So add in those passing chords if and when you're ready. But if not, you've got an easy option. So we go right back into another verse, which is basically laid out exactly the same as it was in the first verse. We've got options for passing chords, and you can use those where they seem appropriate, because Jacob always plays things a little bit differently. So they're not necessarily that they can only be used in one place. So I'm going to play through the verse using some of those passing chord options, but know that you can always stay just on the main line and have that basic single chord to cover the function of what is needed for each bar. Little blue, be my anchor, be my light, my compass star, be my darkness, be my danger, be the strings of my guitar. Little blue, how I love you. Something strong, something true. In your arms, so dear and gentle, there's a light that leads me back to you. Okay, so now this is probably the part that people get hung up on, going, that second pre-chorus, I can't possibly play it. There's too much going on.
Wrong.
They are familiar shapes, many of which we've already used. They're just going to be in a different place. So we have to know our geography a little bit more of where we need to be. But the primary shapes to support the melody are still very familiar, either open position chords or bar chords. Because you're not so far away, I hear you say, you'll never walk alone. Okay, so that last chord is a new shape, but we'll look at it when we get there. We're going to start in the same way that we did with the first pre-chorus, with that B minor or B minor 7. 'Cause you're not so far. Well, now what I like about either one of these, whether you did that one, that one, that one, that one, is now we just slide it up a whole step. 'Cause you're not so far away, I hear. There's a B bar chord. Now it might not be all that comfortable. You can simplify it if you want to do just 4-string version. So you do what works for your fingers, but know that the chord shape that it's based on should be familiar. Hear you say to an E major. Now where it starts to modulate, we still just get to play bar chords. And we're going to go from that E shape to move that exact same shape up to the 4th fret. It could be an A flat major. You'll never walk alone, to D flat, which is just a bar chord. Never walk alone, and slide it up 2 frets. Same bar chord. Now the last 2 chords that work our way back into the original key, we're going to go from these 3 bar chords. You'll never walk alone. And now here we're on that 6th fret. We're going to stay on the 6th fret, but go to the 6th string and play our major. You remember, it looks just like the one we just did here. It looks just like the E shape. And we're going to go however you want to finger pick it. So after this last bar chord, we have one more chord if we want to add it. It is kind of the transition chord to get us back to those key of D shapes and the tonality of being back in the actual key of E flat major. We do have the option to just stay on this bar chord and skip that chord altogether if we're not ready for it, because I'd rather eliminate the roadblocks but still maintain the structure of the song so that you can play it and sing it without tripping up on things. And then you can add these unique signature chords in when you're ready. So let's hear it one time without the final diminished chord. You'll never walk alone. Singing, don't be afraid of the dark. There we are back. So now let's hear it with that last little diminished chord. You'll never walk alone. Singing, don't be afraid of the dark. So you can use it or skip it for now and add it when you're ready, and you can still play the song with your friends. And after that, we go to the chorus. It's kind of a double chorus. Same chords as before, same tendency to maybe vary where the passing chords are. So play it in whatever way that feels good to you, following those basic chord shapes. You'll never walk alone. Singing, don't be afraid of the dark in your heart. And there you have it. Familiar chord shapes, hopefully. Couple maybe that you've got to practice, but many of them are also optional. Now, because we have a capo on the first fret, if this key is too high for you, you can, of course, remove the capo, and we can only lower it a half step using these shapes. If it's too low for you, you can also raise it up, play the same shapes, and you've still got the song. But if you're interested in learning how to play this in a lower key, and you enjoy tutorials like this, come visit me over on my Patreon, where I'm building a community of other people who are fascinated, like myself, with Jacob's arrangements on guitar, and where I'm releasing other tutorials there on Jacob's guitar playing, on his altered tuning, and other things like giving you access to another chart to show you how to play this out of any convenient guitar key. So come visit us over there, even as a free member, to just observe what else is going on there and see if there's things of value to you. Paid members also get access to additional tutorials. It also helps support me to continue creating these tutorials. Now, Jacob's going to keep giving us songs like this, and I'm going to keep picking them apart and dissecting them to figure out how we can all get inside of them. The other way that you can help me is like, subscribe, click that bell notification. I'll keep you posted when I've got more tutorials or more things to show you. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.